What's up, guys? Today we're going to be checking out another pair of subwoofers. Today we've got the XTZ Sub 112 Edge. So shout out to XTZ for getting me this subwoofer for review. Like I said, I got two of these in, but we're only going to unbox one today because they're exactly the same. Inside the box, we will automatically see that we have the subwoofer grill. It's made out of plastic, and I think it's magnetic. I think this ships all the way from like Sweden. Pretty nice packaging so far. And to be honest with you, the packaging looks very similar to the Arendal speakers and also the Per-Listen speakers. So maybe there's a connection there somewhere. I'm sure some of you guys will know. If you do, leave a comment down below. But inside the box, we get some white gloves and some documentation. And then we also get the power cord. And we get some screws. So this comes in a nice little cloth bag with a little drawstring, just like those other speakers I mentioned. It's not too heavy either. It's about 53.9 pounds, so it's not too heavy. So on the front of the sub, we get a single 12-inch driver with the XTC logo embossed on the front. This is a ported subwoofer, but if you want to use it as a sealed sub, it does come with a foam plug. But if you do want to use it ported, you can take out the foam plug. It's got a nice little XTZ Cinema logo on the front. And on the bottom of the sub, there are some little feet here, which I think are adjustable. So if you want to level it to your floor, you can do that as well. Or if you want to get some spiked feet, you can unscrew these and add some extra spikes or some sorbothane feet or something like that to add some extra padding to the subwoofer. And if you could tell by looking at the top of the subwoofer, it's in a trapezoidal shape. So the two side walls are not parallel with each other. So that way it's got, to keep the resonances down, the inner walls kind of slope inwards. So size-wise, it measures 17.7 inches high by 20 inches wide by 19 inches deep. So it's almost a perfect square, except for the fact that it is kind of a trapezoid. It's got 8 layers of lacquered finish, which is matte black. So if this is going to go in your home theater, it's going to look very nice and keep all the reflections away from your projector screen or your television screen. So it's got a nice flat satiny finish, which is what I prefer. So on the back here, we get XLR connections in and out. We also get line in and out as well, RCAs. We also get a low pass, which is fully adjustable from 30 Hertz all the way to 170. We've got phase, which is variable from 0 to 180 degrees. We get a gain, which is your volume knob. And there's also a built-in PEQ, which you can adjust the frequency here and also the gain here from a -9 to a +9. You can also turn the PEQ on or off from the little switch. You can also turn on the low pass filter on or off. Whether or not you're going to use this directly with your processor or receiver, you would turn that on or off there. And there are 3 different presets for EQ. There's a reference setting, which will give you the most extension. There's EQ1, which will give you a low frequency cutoff, so it keeps out the lowest frequencies. So if you're going to put this in a small room, you're not vibrating everything. And then EQ2 will add a little bit of extra kick, so I think a little boost in the mid-range. And there's also the auto on or always on selector as well. Then on the bottom, main power switch, and then the power inlet. Frequency response for this is 19 Hertz to 160 Hertz. And this is powered by an Ice Power Class D amplifier rated at 700 watts RMS or 1045 watts max. So like I said, I got 2 of these in for review, and I also got some XTZ speakers. These are the Atmosphere 2S's. You can either use these as ATMOS toppers, or if you want, you can mount these on your ceiling. I'm not gonna unbox these because they only sent me some ATMOS speakers. I'm still waiting on the rest of the speakers. I think they're gonna send me some M6s or M8s or something like that. So in the meantime, I'm gonna keep this over to the side. We're gonna go ahead, get this guy set up in the home theater, and I'll come back and give you some thoughts and impressions.
I'm going to be placing one sub in the front corner of my theater and the other sub in the opposite right rear corner. This always gives me the best response for my space. They'll be hooked up to a Trinnov Altitude processor, and I'll be using a Zappiti Signature media player and a Kaleidescape for all the demos. You can find all the associated gear I use for this video down below in the video's description. I'll be turning off any room correction in the processor and using the sub's built-in EQ to fine-tune the response in my space. The first demo we're going to check out is Godzilla vs. Kong on 4K Blu-ray. If all you want is bass, this has got an ample amount from 40 Hz and below. For a medium-sized box, these subwoofers can dig pretty low. And for a movie like this, you want to have subwoofers that can capture the feeling of giant monster footsteps pounding into the ground. You could feel the vibrations coming up from the floor and radiate through your body. It's a quiet sub until it's needed to just snap into high gear with these types of action flicks. I've heard subwoofers go lower for this demo, but given the size and the way it pressurized my space, you might think these are a lot bigger than what they are. Even at uncomfortable levels, the pair didn't break a sweat, nor did I hear any unsavory noises coming from the enclosure or felt like the drivers were going to give out. Next up is Fury on 4K. It's a hard-hitting ATMOS mix and demands a quick, responsive subwoofer.
Let's light them up. Let's go. Let's clean it up.
You know, recently I've had a subwoofer that was like 5 times the price of the XTZ, and it could hardly do this demo justice. So for the asking price of the XTZ, you might think it'd do even worse, but that wasn't the case. The 1x12 is one speedy subwoofer that can belt out successive impact from all those machine guns blasting away. It's very tight and tactile with immediate punch, which gives me a little bit of a REL subwoofer vibe. Although I wouldn't say it's quite as snappy, but it's close. If you like that kick in the chest type of bass, then the XTZ can surely deliver. And now we're going to wrap this up with some infrasonics from Edge of Tomorrow.
I'm not sure if we're even on the air.
Well, these are only rated down to 19 Hz, and it definitely sounded like it, which is great, but it would have needed to go down lower to give you the type of teeth-rattling extension this movie calls for. At the peak of the demo, these played crazy loud and vibrated everything loose in the next room. It's that last couple seconds where larger subs can vibrate the air, which makes your skin tingle and sometimes even your insides. So hitting single digits aren't something the XTZ subs can do. I did take a few measurements in my space. Keep in mind that these are my results in my room and will likely look very different for what you get in yours. The first measurement is the front subwoofer sealed. I got a small dip at 55 Hz and it does drop off at the specified 19. Going ported, I'm getting about 2 dB more output, but it does have a steeper drop off at 19 Hz. The same goes for the back subwoofer. It drops off at 19 Hz, but going ported, it does play louder with a steeper drop off at 19. Using both together, I've got a smoother overall response down to 19 Hz sealed, but going ported it plays a bit louder with a much quicker drop off at 19. So for all of these demos, I did use the subwoofers sealed. At the time of this video, the 1x12 Edge is selling for $850. Of all the under $1,000 subwoofers I've had in my theater, I can honestly say I think this is the best bang for buck subwoofer out there. It's got an adjustable PEQ, which most subwoofers at this price don't have, and it's even got XLR balanced inputs, which even subs costing 2 or 3 times as much don't have either. It's got great build quality, with the only thing that kinda bothers me is the blue portion of the logo on the front. I feel it distracts from the clean design, but that's just me being picky. Now I have tested other subs under $1,000 that may go lower, but they don't hit quite as hard as this one. I've had subs that hit harder but might not go as low as this one, so I feel like this is right in the middle as far as speed and tactile response, with enough low end to satisfy most users out there. I find the size very unobtrusive and the color is perfect for a home theater space. If you're on a budget and want to get high-end performance with high-end features, I think you'll have a hard time beating the XTZ 1x12 Edge. So what are your thoughts on these XTZ subwoofers? I know they're hard to come by in the US, but if you have heard them, how do you think they stack up in the under $1,000 category? Leave a comment down below and let me know. As always guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to tap the like button if you found the video useful, and stop by our Patreon page if you'd like to support the channel and get exclusive content. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you again in the next video.